Hello there, friends. This is Scott from Platte River Keto. If you're new to my channel, welcome. On my channel, you get to come along for the ride on my keto journey. I like to check in with you at least once a week to let you know my progress on my journey. Also like to share at least one other video a week talking about something that I've learned on my journey, maybe about keto, a lot of times it is, or just getting through this wonderful thing we call life. If you like what you see, be sure to like my video, subscribe to my channel, share with all of your friends. That really helps me out. Today, I'm going to kind of share a little bit more with you about the keto conference that I attended last week. As I mentioned last time, I have my trusty notebook here. Got some information that I want to share. Before I do, though, I want to share another interesting experience that I had this week. And it was the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. The reason I share that is not that it's not something you haven't all heard before, but I have felt the need again this week to test that theory out. I think I've actually mentioned in a couple of my videos, but one of the things that is keto, generally speaking, but is not keto for me, is nuts and seeds. And the biggest reason is because I overeat them. If I only had a serving of nuts or seeds, I would probably be okay, but the problem is I can't do that. This past week, I had some sunflower seeds in my house, and I way overindulged. We also made a keto treat that had peanut butter in it. I overindulged in that too. And long story short, I overindulged on Sunday evening and on Monday morning. My body let me know that was not a good idea. But it's an interesting lesson. I feel like, unfortunately, I'm probably not the only person who's ever had to learn a lesson over and over and over again. But I did, and I learned once again that nuts and seeds are not keto for me. They are keto. They're certainly allowable. There are different opinions on how much of those you should consume, or really whether you should consume them at all. I certainly don't have to consume them, but they're definitely not keto for me. So I am telling you, each and every one of you out there, that I am going to just say no to nuts and seeds. Not going to make any declarations for the rest of my life, but I'm definitely going to say no to them for a while. And like I said, that got me thinking, how often do we do that in our lives? Do we have to learn again that doing the same thing over and over and over again is going to get us the same results? Hopefully I don't have to do that again with nuts and seeds for a while, but yeah, so that was my first random thought for today. What I'd like to do to spend the rest of my time that I have with you today is share a little bit about one of the talks from the Keto Conference. Again, I'm referring to my notes here. This was Tara Garrison's talk. She was absolutely fantastic. She shared a lot having to do with fitness and strength training, which is definitely something that goes along with keto. But the principles that she shared are really principles I think that, while they can apply to resistance or strength training, can certainly apply to other parts of our lives too. She talked about resilience, the word resilience. Resilience gets you to survival. And what does it mean to survive? Really, that's just existing, just being alive. And the word that she shared with us that we all want to get to is prosilience, which apparently is a word. She said she didn't make it up, and I believe her. And that's responding to difficulties or difficult situations by getting better. Thriving because of life's challenges, not in spite of them. And she mentioned three things that we can do to be prosilient in our lives. The first thing that she mentioned was to prepare for the punches, which is to actually put ourselves in challenging situations throughout our lives. And I thought that was pretty interesting. She actually had a really good quote talking about putting ourselves in challenging situations and in getting out of our comfort zone. She said, getting out of your comfort zone in the same way that you've always gotten out of your comfort zone isn't really getting out of your comfort zone anymore. And I thought that was a pretty interesting thought, because how often in our lives do we say things like, hey, putting a YouTube video together is really getting out of my comfort zone? I know that I've definitely said that. Well, I'm recording, I think, my 8th YouTube video. So I don't know that I'm really getting all that good at this, but it's probably not so much out of my comfort zone as it was the first time that I did it. And if any of you out there can think of anything that you did the first time that you did it, you really were probably getting out of your comfort zone. One of the things that came to mind for me is that I play the piano and I play the organ at church. Now, I didn't used to do that, And I remember the first time that I did, I was terrified. My hands were shaking. I was so nervous. And so the first time that I played the organ for my church congregation, I really was definitely out of my comfort zone. Having said that, the 100th time that I played in front of my congregation, I certainly wasn't nervous anymore, and it was no longer out of my comfort zone. So that was an interesting thing to think about as we try to challenge ourselves, that we really need to challenge ourselves. And we might have to think a little bit about that. If we've been challenging ourselves in the same way for quite a while, doing that thing that used to be a challenge for us probably isn't a challenge anymore. So that was something that was really good that she had shared. The second thing that she shared was to stay in the sucky, is what she called it. And she actually definitely was talking about specifically resistance training here. She actually had Dr. Jamie Seaman come up on the stage, and she was having her do bicep curls, and basically doing them until she couldn't do them anymore. And you could actually see the muscle fatigue at the end, like where the muscle kind of starts to tremble a little bit. And she pointed out how many of those she was able to do. And, like most good trainers, she's like, give me a couple more, you can do one more, to the point where, Dr. Seaman really couldn't do anymore. And she said that, that in the sucky, as she called it, the hard part is really where the growth happens. And that's really true for us. Now, that's true whether we're lifting weights or whether we're trying to train, learn something in our job, whether we're trying out something new in our way of eating, keto diet, for example. But I think it's just a really good principle for us in our lives, that we're going to, and that we get the most out of that last rep, so to speak. Like I said, whether that's an actual physical rep or whether that's that last bit of studying that we did, or whatever it might be. She shared another quote, the 40% rule, she called it. I'd never heard it before. Maybe something you all are very familiar with, but it's when your mind tells you that you're done, you're really only 40% of the way there. And I thought that was interesting. I actually shared that today with a coworker of mine, and we talked about that, and it's really true. Most of the limits that we place on ourselves in our lives are limits that are up here. Our body is capable of doing amazing things, and most of the time we, through our minds, talk ourselves out of doing better, going further, doing more. I know that I definitely do that in my life, and that's something that I thought about. Not just when it comes to the way that I eat, when it comes to my my strength training program that I have. I know I could definitely do more there, but the rest of my life too. Furthering myself in my professional career, learning more, all that kind of things. I hold myself back. And so that's something I would encourage you to think about. Is there a way that you're holding yourself back? Are you holding yourself back because your mind's telling you that you've done all you can do, and that your body actually has more to give? So anyway, that was a good thought. The last thing that she shared was, quote unquote, be your own mom. And basically that when we talk to ourselves, we need to talk positively to ourselves. Basically that you should say to yourself what your mom would say to you if you had a bad day. Be kind to yourself. You can be kind to yourself. You can be kind to yourself when you go off of your food plan. You can be kind to yourself when you didn't get up this morning and do that workout like you wanted to. I actually wrote down positive self-talk. Be your own best friend. Tell yourself what you would tell your kids if they had made a mistake. And I actually wrote for myself, tell myself what I would tell my kids, specifically my son Brandon, my daughter Emily, if they had made a mistake. Do that to yourself. Be that same amount of kind to yourself. We need that. It's important for us to be kind and positive with ourselves. When we do that, I think that we will get that extra whatever percent it is out of ourselves. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. I hope that this has been helpful to you. Again, like I said, if you like what you see, please share this with your friends. Don't forget to hit that bell icon so you can be notified the next time that I have a wonderful epiphany, and just can't wait to share it with you. But until next time, keep calm and keto on. We'll talk to you soon.